back to Mrs. Riley's maths videos, and we're still on doing a bit of geometry. And the task I set you was to prove that the three angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. And thanks for those of you that tried and that submitted some work. Well done. So here I'm just going to go through it quickly and show you how I would prove that and a useful way to prove it. And also it'll help you to understand how we might go about proving something. So when we come to prove a statement like this in geometry, there are certain statements we can rely on that are taken as fact and that we don't need to prove. In this case, two of those are that the angles on a straight line add up to 180 degrees, and also that alternate angles within parallel lines add up to are at the same value. And those statements that we make that we don't need to prove are called axioms. Axioms, A-X-I-O-M-S. So those are things we don't need to prove. The way we go about proving something, a statement like this one, is called a theorem. So this first statement that we're asked to prove is a theorem, and we're going to rely on two basic axioms to prove that. And the two axioms again are that angles on a straight line add up to 180 degrees, and then what we call alternate angles within parallel lines, they are equal in size. So the first thing we need to do, and we'll always need to do when we have a theorem we're trying to prove, is that we'll draw a diagram. And I suggested to you that what you might do would be to draw a triangle. Okay, and what we'll do is we'll get used to how we would prove something. So the first thing is we draw a triangle and we label the triangle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this A, this vertex A, this vertex B, and this vertex C. We're trying to prove that the three angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So actually what we're trying to do is to prove that A, B, and C add up to 180 degrees. So we're trying to prove that A plus B plus C is equal to 180 degrees. That's what we're trying to prove. Now I could write measure of angle A plus measure of angle B plus measure of angle C equals 180 degrees. But for now, let's just keep the notation a bit easier and use A plus B plus C equals 180 degrees. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in an extra line. So add in a line, and this is called a construction, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to add to the diagram by in some way that's geometrically correct, and in this case I'm going to add a line that goes through A that's parallel to CB. So I'm going to add a line. Let's just move the camera out so I have a bit more space. Okay, line through A parallel to BC. Okay, and then to help me, I'm also going to label the new angles that are formed. New angles that are formed. Okay, label the new angles that are formed. So I'm going to call this D and this E. And I'm going to use this diagram to prove what we need to prove. So here's my proof. I'm going to do it over here to the side just because it keeps all the diagram in one shot. Okay, so what do we know? We know that A plus D plus E equals 180 degrees. How do we know that? That's right, because it's a straight line. Okay, that's an axiom, isn't it? We don't have to prove it, or we can just take it as true. What else do we know? We know that D is equal to C. Why is D equal to C? Remember, these two lines are parallel. Why is D equal to C? Yeah, because they're all alternate angles. Because this line here going through A is parallel to this line here going through BC. Okay, can you find another pair of alternate angles then as well? Yeah, that's correct. E is equal to B because they're alternate angles. So we know that A plus D plus E equals 180. A plus D plus E equals 180. But if instead of D we swap in C, and if instead of E we swap in B, we've got A plus C plus B, A plus B plus C equals 180, which is what we are trying to prove. A plus B plus C equals 180. So the angles in a triangle sum to 180 degrees. Okay, if you need to play that back through again and then try it yourself from scratch on a blank page. Okay.